the 1999 amended Nigerian Constitution, specifically under Section 35(4), it states that a person who is arrested or detained shall be brought before a court of law within a reasonable time, which in no case shall exceed 48 hours, for an arrest about an offense that is not bailable. Now, what exactly is Mr. Daniel Ojukwu still doing in the police net since 1st of May 2024 when he was arrested? Why hasn't he been released or at most charged to court? What exactly is happening to the journalists in Nigeria? Well, good morning, viewers, and welcome to Now Streaming on ACNN TV. I am your anchor today, Promise Njoku Adibe, and with me to anchor this morning show is none other than he came out. Let me allow him introduce himself.
All right, thank you so much, Promise, and a very good and pleasant morning to our viewers out there. I am Godwin Ujiri.
Oh, you look good, Mr. Godwin.
Thank you so much.
You look very good, and that cap is. What does that word mean? That's
today is Friday, and it is expected, you know.
Okay. Well, keep it up. I like that.
Thank
Well,
you so
viewers, don't forget to call in and share your opinions and thoughts about what we are discussing. Also, endeavor to share the link with all and sundry. The conversation is already ongoing. So, let's take a look at some select dailies that came in early this morning. Let me start with Godwin.
All right, thank you
so
so
let's
much.
know which one you have with you there.
All right, I have with me the Vanguard newspaper for this morning, and it has a whole lot of interesting story that I think our viewers would want to see. It is very, very interesting. And above on the Vanguard masthead there, we have a very, very interesting one here that says Senate okays death penalties for manufacturers of dangerous drugs. This can be seen in page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. And then we have cash transfer scheme raised household savings but had little other impact. This is coming from the World Bank and can be seen in page 9 of the Vanguard. Then we also have this coming from Falana that says deporting 317 Oshun indigenes from Lagos considered illegal. This is coming from, I think, the very renowned human rights activists, and this can be gotten from page 10 of the Vanguard newspaper. Then we have a picture story there looking at the third annual general meeting of GT which is, I think, Guaranteed Trust Company or Holdings. There, our viewers, if you look at the paper, it is coming from, it is having this meeting with the picture stories with the director and also the CEO of GT there. Then we have this very interesting one also speaking on the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. It reads, project not okayed by NAS, procurement for probe. This is coming from the Reds. And we have the kickers there that says, ask ministers of works, finance, justice, AGF to send all guarantees, credit enhancement instruments to NAS. Then we have this kickers also that says, say project didn't get NAS approval. Then I begin to wonder if the project didn't get NAS approval,
how
then was procurement
exactly
made. Then we have this other story that says Senate reps disagree on implementation of cyber security levy, and this is coming with two very important kickers there that says both arms of NAS pass levy into law after public hearing. This is coming from the Senate, and it also has this that says levy not punitive but aimed at protecting national security and economy. Then we have this coming from the IMF that says IMF cautioned FG against CBN Act Amendment. This can be seen on page 20 of the Vanguard. Then we have this also. FG Telecoms. FG Telecoms operators disagree on tariff hike. Then this very interesting one also that has the caption of 2.7 billion naira fraud. It says ex-aviation minister Sirika daughter Duct gets 100 million naira bail. This can be seen on page 8. Then we have this on Edo gubernatorial election. It says crack in Labour Party as youth leader declares dissolution of ESCO. Then I think by the end of the far right of the Vanguard, we have the Mr. and Mrs. Right. I think Mr. and Mrs. Sorry.
Smith, yeah.
You can get that, viewers, and see how interesting that cartoon is. And then we have a columns coming from Dono, Adekoya, and Azu. This is seen in page 18 and 22. So I think that is all we have on the Vanguard newspaper.
Okay, you took your time. You really took your time. Well, there's so many stories there. Well, viewers, I'm going to be taking the Punch newspaper, and I'll start above the masthead. Government under pressure to stop cybersecurity levy. Page 41 of the Punch newspaper gives you more insight to that story. In fact, the pressure should increase. Page 45 again, 2.7 billion naira fraud. Court imposes travel ban on Sirika daughter. And on page 45 still, abduction. Okay, no longer arrest, abduction. You rightly said that, Godwin. Citizens slam Inspector General of Police for detaining journalists beyond 48 hours. I also asked that question. Why is he still in the police net after 48 hours? Okay. The late story there, Coastal Highway probe, reps to summon Edun Umahi, AGF. The kicker there say, Works Ministry Defense Project, House panel gets 4 weeks to complete probe. That story is on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And we're also going to look at some stories below there. The lead story on Rivers. Oh my goodness, Rivers State, always in the news. On the Rivers crisis, Fubara lawmakers lock horns again. Like, not only these people in Nigeria, why do they keep disturbing us? Every time you open the newspaper, there must be something about Rivers State. Okay. You want to know what's happening? Go to page 2 of the Punch newspaper and read more on that story. We have the Bisman, Lagos police bicker over 70,000 naira extortion allegation. Okay, page 4 of the Punch newspaper gives you more story on that. Then by the side of the picture story there, we have Senate okays death penalty for drug traffickers. 34, page 34 of the Punch newspaper tells you more. And then on a sad note, much sorrow as under 17 hero Babangida, may his soul rest. And all Nigerians, he was indeed a hero during his time. Well, that's what we can take on the Punch newspaper. So the conversation, like I said earlier, is already on. Viewers, feel free to call in. The number to call in is showing on your screen. And if you can't call in peradventure where you are, it's not easy, or you have something else that makes you not to call in, please feel free to send us your comments or your questions via our social media handles also showing on your screen. So we have a lot of interesting topics to talk about, a lot of interesting stories, but let's start with the one that concerns us as journalists. I really the constitution is very clear. Sure. That's why I had to start with that in my opening. The constitution said 48 hours. If the person is not released on bail, the person should be charged to court. Now, Mr. Daniel Ojukwu has been with the Nigerian police since 1st of May. And today is what? Today is 10th. So that's like 10 days in detention. And the Inspector General of Police have come out to, give excuses why he's still here. And they trust Nigerians. They said he's breaking the law. They are to uphold and implement this law. But they are the ones breaking it. I don't know. Am I the only one thinking there's something amiss? Because the Punch newspaper actually called it abduction, no longer arrest. Because this infringement on his fundamental human rights. Am I the only one thinking this way? Viewers, do you think I'm the only one thinking this way? Or maybe because I'm a journalist? Well, let me hear your thoughts with regard to this.
Thank you so much, Promise. First, I would want to look at it this way. I don't know if it would be right to use the word kidnap.
Yeah, abduction, kidnapping, yeah, that is just it.
Because unfortunately, the laws in Nigeria, which we are meant to obey, it seems as though it is the law that is obeying us.
No, I think better put is the law is being enforced on some set of individuals. Then when it gets to powers that be, those above the law is bent.
To suit them. I think I love that narrative you just gave, because it's quite unfortunate where the institution of the Nigerian police, who ought to be looked at by an average citizen out there as to adhere to the laws and everything that is holding and binding to us as citizens in the Constitution. It is them in this case that is in infringement of that. Because even in a criminal case, there are still charges that are bailable.
Exactly.
But in this case now, we are not even seeing any criminal whatever to it. Whatever the charges be, the way the person was adopted is an issue that needs to be looked at.
Exactly.
And holding the person in custody without giving the person even access to, say, his legal counsel and the rest. Because I think if this person is being given right to his counsel, it would have been put straight to them to say, you can't hold my client.
This is wrong.
After 24 or 48 hours,
yes.
You cannot hold my clients. But unfortunately, it seems as though the law have been bent in this case, and it suits whosoever is holding these journalists accountable. This is Nigeria. We hate the narrative as journalists, but it is painful that we keep saying it.
And funny enough, he is not the only one. We have a lot of journalists
that have suffered similar fate.
Yes.
So to me, I think this is gagging of the press.
True.
And it shouldn't be. In good conscience, the press is considered like the fourth arm of government, after the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. The press, if you look at it constructively, you would understand that all of the check and balances, the press does it better.
True.
And when you begin to gag them, you are making the country itself ungovernable.
Anarchy. I just see anarchy flaunting its ugly head
That
everywhere.
is where we shouldn't pray to get to. Unfortunately, we are that way.
We're actually knocking on that door. To that, not just us showing solidarity. Yesterday there was a look at this video. When we come back, we'll talk more on it.
When I remember Daniel, what I run away, me I know. What I run away, me I know. When I remember journalists, what I run away, me I know. What I run away. Free Ojukwu now. 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 I said free Ojukwu now. 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 violated our fundamental rights at the Nigerian police. On May 1st, Daniel Ojukwu was unlawfully abducted by the Nigerian police. That was not an arrest because he was taken on May 1st in Lagos and he was taken to Panti. But guess what happened? The parents did not know he has been taken. His phone was taken away from him. He was rendered incommunicado. Just imagine your parents and family not knowing where you are. Until 3 days after, when somebody found out that he was in Panti, that was when Daniel's mother knew that his son was actually in Panti. And so he was, what do you call that? What do you call that?
Police. The statement is to demand, is to condemn the adoption of Daniel Ojukwu and also to demand that it should be released immediately and unconditionally. The 2023 Gospel Media Fellowship has expressed concern about the adoption and the arrest of Daniel Ojukwu, an investigative journalist with the Foundation of Investigative Journalists, and a member of the Gospel Media Fellowship, an initiative of budgets with support of ICIR, dedicated to promoting accountability and transparency in government expenditures. Just like his family and friends, our communities was shocked by Daniel's sudden disappearance on May 1, 2024 without any prior communication. The intelligence
When I remember Daniel, what I run away.
Well, you saw that protest.
Yes, indeed.
Journalism is not a crime. So I keep wondering. First, I must commend Nigerians for coming out to seek for the release of this young man, because I think the moment, this is me speaking now as an individual, the moment our security forces keep abducting or kidnapping or arresting journalists, and everybody doesn't, it's none of my business, so they keep doing it.
Definitely.
We become enablers. But when they do this, we're not saying when journalists are wrong, there are better ways, just like every other human being, there are better ways of addressing this issue. So you don't just abduct somebody. And you had the woman who was talking, not until after 3 days before someone was able to contact his parents. If his mother or his father was hypertensive, they would have been long dead. Yes, because imagine my child going out and then all of a sudden he didn't come back the first day, the second day, the third day. No communication, nothing. I don't think that's fair. First you arrest him, second you seize his phone, render him incommunicado. I think that's more like kidnapping. Yes, because that's what kidnappers do.
Sure, definitely.
That's what kidnappers do, and I don't think this should be heard of done by the Nigerian police. It's wrong. It's wrong, and the Inspector General of Police, please, should look into this. Yes, you have your reasons. You've told Nigerians your reasons, but I think first things first. The law comes first. Nobody is above the law. The law says 48 hours. So please release that gentleman. Then if you have anything against him, please take it to court. Let the court decide. This is my own opinion. I don't know what you have to say.
Yeah.
We just watched that protest.
Indeed, it was a very pitiable protest day, and my heartfelt, how do I put it, to the family who are directly hit by this. It's so unfortunate. I am always looking at the institution and the various forms at which journalists have been gagged in the country. You don't just say, okay, the person have portrayed an image he or she ought not to, and if you don't come after the institution itself, who is the employer of these journalists, you go after the individual themselves. That is an aspect of even gagging the press in Nigeria. Then another aspect again, like in the case of the Okwama in Delta State, not allowing journalists
to cover the
event. That is another aspect of gagging the press, and this is against press freedom that we are crying for every day. And the painful aspect is that the institution that ought to protect the press, the institution that ought to ensure that there is press freedom, because one day they forget that whosoever is giving them this order will turn against them, and it is this same press that will portray it out to them. They have forgotten all of that. It is this same institution that is helping whosoever to gag the press. It is so unfortunate in Nigeria, and I begin to ask myself, how did we get here?
You know when we were talking earlier, I talked about sometimes bending the law.
The law, yeah.
Now, in the case of, let me look for that. Let me look for that news. I think I read it on the Punch newspaper. Sirika and his daughter were talking about 2.7 billion naira fraud. And guess what? They were granted bail. Did they spend 10 days in the police cell before they were granted bail?
Not at all.
They were granted bail.
And if you even look at the bail condition, it is like a fraction of what is alleged to have been stolen.
Exactly. So why is this young man still in the Nigerian police net?
What is even his crime?
Well, exactly. Let us know his crime.
For now, I still don't know what.
Let us know his crime. Sirika and his daughter are allegedly, accused. They are being accused of 2.7 billion naira fraud.
Not
million, in B.
Billion.
B. Capital B. Billion naira fraud. Yet they've been granted bail. Now, what is this journalist's offense? And I believe it is being said, we hear it every day, unless the court proves one guilty, that person is still innocent.
Definitely.
So, unless a competent court proves Daniel Ojukwu guilty of any crime. That young man is still innocent. Please, the Inspector General of Police, we are appealing to you. Do the right thing. Use your good conscience. Put yourself in the shoes of his parents. If it was your child that went out and was abducted by members of the Nigerian police force, and he has not been allowed to consult his lawyer, to talk to his parents, and this is the 10th day, how would you feel as a father? Inspector General of Police, please order your boys to release this young man. Let him reunite with his family. Then if there's anything, follow due process. Charge him to court. We're not saying don't charge him to court. Let him go to court. If he's guilty of any crime, then let him face, the penalty. But until then, I think this young man is innocent. I think he should be released. He deserves to be released. He's a human being. He's a Nigerian. And then talking of holding people, arresting them and holding them. I think this is really getting to me. I think we're now looking at the drug trafficking saga. Senate approves death penalty for drug traffickers. Okay, for the very first time I agree with the Senate. Now this is a double thumbs up for them.
Okay.
Yes, because these people that manufacture these drugs, Godwin, have you been to our streets? Have you seen what drugs do to our young ones?
Definitely.
Just because sometimes I don't know if it's frustration that gets them into, let me just end my life and they take drugs. Or let me just live that fake life of not to worry that I have problems or anything. And they take drugs. So the manufacturers, gone. Those people, they manufacture them. Death penalty. Agreed. Then for those that sell, life imprisonment, if you ask me. For the manufacturers, death penalty. For those that sell, life imprisonment. Then for those that take, okay, let me keep quiet. Let me hear your own point of view.
Thank you so much, Promise. I think when we start looking at this, something is just resonating in my head. Because back then in school, my final year project was centered around drug abuse and its effects on the youth. And when you look at the implication of this, it will tell you that there are a whole lot of damaging effects on our youth. And a thumbs up, there were a whole lot of disagreement in the House, the likes of Senator Adams of Shomole trying to go against it, and is saying that anything that has to do with life is sacred.
Really?
Yes.
They now know that anything has to do with life is sacred, but during elections, lives are like chickens.
I am going somewhere with this. He said anything that has to do with life is sacred, and so therefore the House should divide itself and be given the right to look into this before a voice vote will go. But he was penned down to say this is coming late, and adopted it for, say, third reading. But do you know, looking outside drugs, as bad as drugs in the society, I want to, on my own now, tailor myself a bit to the sacredness of life. And I want to look at it coming also from our senators. Now, the effect of drugs is damaging to the future. But let me now ask you, what is the effect of corruption in the system?
Go ahead.
I don't know if you are getting it.
Yes, I am.
Drug can be damaging, but in a way it can be individualized. But the effect of a corrupt system can be damaging to a whole lot.
To the future generation.
Sure you get. And now we are seeing the likes of, what's his name, and his daughter?
Sirika.
What is that was also alleged in Kogi State?
The youngest governor, Yaya Bello.
Are you getting it? Now, these are humongous amount of money that, if truly used, it will better the life of generations unborn.
Agreed.
And you would know that a whole lot of persons are suffering till this time. Nothing have been done about it. The so-called senators are silent about it because I don't know how to put it. But when you look at it drastically, you would understand that there is a more damaging effect to corruption in a system than even a drug. What then am I saying? It would have been much more better if, for the likes of fraudulent activities, Money that was meant for the people. If you are caught on an alleged crime, guilty, a death penalty should also be placed on your head.
Agreed.
As important as saying drug manufacturers should be on the death row. Agreed also. But our senators should be called to realize that there's also another damaging thing that is worse than drugs itself. And that is corruption in the system. Embezzling public funds, mistrust, and a whole lot that is happening in our public institution. A public officer is no longer accountable to the persons that brought them to power. And at the tail end of it all, the society becomes damaged for it. And let me even come this way again so you understand better. You will also agree with me that if an average youth out there is gainfully employed, paid with the so-called money that was embezzled, the person would not in good conscience do drugs. Now the so-called politicians have embezzled the money, the youth is left frustrated, and the person have gone to do drugs. The manufacturers, yes, I know, but it is both the seller and the buyer that would be held accountable in this case. You are saying manufacturers, better, you know those producing it, go after them. But I'm not looking at it from the grassroots level. A whole lot of persons are at the receiving end of both corruption, the drug abuse, and the rest. So why don't you combine everything? Before you are coming out with a death penalty, it was a whole lot of committee in the House that came together. Both the human rights, that on drugs and narcotics, and the rest. You came together, and the best you can bring is a death penalty for manufacturers and whoever is found guilty of this offense. What then happens to those who led them in the first place to this crime?
Nice review. I really love your thoughts and opinion about that, Godwin. Very robust. Viewers, we are talking about the law of death penalty on drug trafficker offenders. So feel free to call in. The number to call in is showing on your screen. And also you can send your messages or your questions to us via any of our social media platforms also showing on your screen. We really love to hear from you. You know, back to what you're saying, this whole thing, I think I read somewhere, is it in China, one of these Asian countries, and corruption is a no-no. You are caught,
you don't try.
You are caught, you're
It
executed.
is in Singapore, where a minister have to execute himself by himself even before the Prime Minister, is it Kim Jong-un, gets to know
that he embezzled money. Yeah. Okay. In fact, there was one I even read. The young man was skinned alive. He was skinned alive, and his skin was dried and kept as, you know, an example. You want to steal the money is there still, but this is how you're going to end. And that has made them know that, oh, corruption is a no-no, stealing is a no-no. So what you said is very true, absolutely correct. He who must go to equity must go with clean hands. If our senators, in fact our National Assembly truly wants to pass this bill, this law into order, fine, we agree with them. Personally, I agree with them because I don't like it. I don't like seeing our youth doing drugs. It's heartbreaking. Imagine a mother. I'm a mother, so I try to put myself in the shoes of other mothers. Have your child go to school, you pay school fees only for that child to graduate and come out and the person is doing drugs. It's heart-wrecking. Okay, so as much as I don't like that, so I agree with the death penalty for those who are manufacturing this one, because they are just extorting. It's still part of corruption because they are making a huge amount of money from this. You need to see people that sell these drugs. The people that sell them, they are like all these kidnappers. When you see them, they don't look well, they don't look healthy. But the people who they sell and send the money to, they are living in large houses, just like the kidnappers. Those who do the dirty work are, you know, they don't look healthy. They look malnourished. But then the huge amount of money they get goes to some certain set of people. So it still all boils down to corruption. So in order to balance this whole thing, please, our National Assembly, as you're passing this law of death penalty with regards to drug the drug manufacturers and traffickers, please also include the death penalty for every person caught in corruption. For every person, I repeat, caught in corruption, irrespective of the person's status. If it is from the judiciary, if the judges and the justices, they decide to give wrong judgment, we all know that, okay, something transpired.
Yes.
Bros, if una catch am, death penalty. It's as simple as that. Our politicians, because we're looking at Kogi State. How many billions of naira you paid school fees? Hey, Jesus, I don't even want to talk about that. Now, if that man is caught and he is guilty, because as far as we're concerned, he's still innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
So if he is caught, he is tried, and he is proven guilty, please, let him sign this thing into law. Let him face the death penalty too. The same goes to all other politicians. If Sirika and his daughter are found guilty of such fraud, let them face the death penalty. I think that would be a deterrent to others.
Can that be passed in a country like Nigeria?
He has asked me one question. Let me now respond to his question. If you ask me, now who I will ask? Now, still talking of Kogi, let's. When I talk of, I'm trying to be happy today. I'm trying to smile because after now streaming, when we talk about Nigeria issues, my producer, my HOD, Mr. Godset, will always tell me, calm down, calm down. So I'm trying to be calm this morning. If not, give me one good reason why someone will, inside his achievements in 100 days in office, tell me that one of his achievements is a visit to the NSA. Like, are we serious in this country? Who are the kind of people at the helms of affairs? Like, are we serious? Okay, please, let's watch this video. Let it not look like I'm the one fabricating all this. Okay, let's take a look at this picture. He said his 100 days in office, first 100 days in office. Just take a look at that. And one of it, now that one they pay me pass. One of what he said is his 100 days in office is the fact that he met with the NSA. Ribadu. Please, I don't know, is Ribadu God now?
I think if you notice the way Kogi politics played out and which brought Ododo as the now governor, he considered himself more of a privileged individual. If not for the help of the likes of Yaya Bello, he saw himself as would not have been able to reach this aim of affair. So meeting the likes of Ribadu to him is more of an achievement.
Please, must he really talk? Okay, look at one other one. Homecoming of His Excellency to a grand reception in Okene. That's an achievement. Homecoming to a grand reception where you have civil servants not being paid salaries, pensioners not being paid their hard-earned money as their pensions. You pay civil servants by percentage, and you're telling me a homecoming of His Excellency is an achievement? Like, are we for real? Such a man in a sane country will be in jail.
I think
he's not fit to be a governor.
How about the insecurity experience in Kogi? How about the
look at the horrible roads?
Oh God!
You can't pass Kogi freely. Look at how dilapidated those roads are, and you're counting this as your achievement.
I feel where we have gotten it completely wrong is immunity most of our governors enjoy. That is where we have gotten it wrong as a nation. If you know that your governor is not doing it well, I think the constitution should be amended. The way we call back the senators and those in the House of Reps, if we can call back these governors that are not doing well, that it is obvious this person is not delivering, is better. Although they would say that is why we have the State House of Reps and all others to check.
In my head, they pay me. Like, I'm annoying. Governor can come out and call it his achievement in 100 days in office. Then I pity and I weep for the people of Kogi State. Please, can Abia show us theirs? I'm so very interested in that state. When Governor Oti comes out with his own 100 days in office, I pray I'll be on now streaming that day, because we will look at it and then we know who truly governors are. It's not. Oh God. Oh God. Deployed new sets of teachers recruited by the Kogi State government. They said payment of all outstanding fees to youth organization in the states. Please, how many? Where are they? If you have collected, please let us know. Raise your hand up. Call us. The number to call in is showing on your screen. Please call. Let us know what you've collected. And then for our pensioners, have you collected your pension? Because they said they've paid. Have you collected? For civil servants, have you been paid 100% salary since Mr. Governor came into office? He's celebrating 100 days. Have you been paid? The number to call in is showing on your screen. In the agricultural sector, he said designated and cleared over 8,000 acres of farmland for the new farming season. As a farmer, have you received any portion of land to farm on? Please call in. We know you're watching this. We want to know what exactly is happening in Kogi State. Would like to hear from you. Godwin, let me let you talk before we go to the next.
All right. Just still looking at the same issue, because a whole lot of things are coming up. You spoke about, say, farmers. The question here, in line with insecurity, I'm still trying to dissect all of his achievements in 100 days, because they are really much. He has achieved a whole lot.
So he said.
So he said. Now, the question is, with the level of insecurity and food security in Nigeria, do the farmers in Kogi State truly go to their farm?
Okay.
Do they have access to their farmland? You know, it is a pain that what our leaders ought to hold as priority has become a charade to a whole lot of us. And we begin to ask, how did we get here? How did we get here? The other day I was telling a friend of mine that the problem we are having, it is not just in bringing, it is in our political parties. The kind of persons they bring in. And then you don't just bring in these persons, you know these persons are not capable, you bankroll the person to the aim of affair with the state resources.
They don't care, because when the person goes there, the person does their bidding. That's just it.
It's a whole lot. And I think there's this instance of a few persons taking oath of office and are pledging allegiance to, I think, the governor. I think so. These are when you begin to look at all of these issues.
You know, there was a time.
Ododo, for instance, I'm not surprised in all of this.
But here, there was a time he came out to say, respect the office of the past governor.
A friend of mine from Kogi State still said Yaya Bello still holds an office.
Yeah, someone said he's running a third term in Kogi State. Well, that's true. Where is Rachel? Rachel, please call and tell Rachel and Caroline. Call and tell us what's happening in Kogi State. I'm sure you're from Kogi State. Tell us how you've been enjoying the government and the administration of Mr. Ododo in Kogi State. Talking about all these governors, and there's so much drama. Ubara and River State have been on the paper from the moment agree us rest now. Waiting happen. That story of Fubara visits pro wiki lawmakers residential, coming out to say, oh, part of that is part of my goodness. River State, what's happening? I wish we can get someone from River State to call us and tell us exactly what is happening. We want to know what's really good with Mr. Fubara and pro-UK supporters in River State. What is happening? Can we have peace? People just allow the man govern the state. Because I see all of this as a distraction. Because when you keep hitting right, left, and this young man, he won't even work for his people. But if the elections are over, everybody should just swap. Let's wait for 20. Understand? Allow this man work. Then if he doesn't work 2027, you take him out. But all these no distractions. Please, let's breathe.
I think the issue in River State is within a few caucus and they're trying to
yes,
because the constitution side other side is pressmen would want to stand in the side of the law. The constitution in Rivers State is straight as regards this, and it shows that part to another, say from PDP to APC, your seat is declared
vacant. Yes,
the constitution is clear about that. And then the House of Reps member, how do I call them, that whose seat have been declared vacant are owing to an unconstitutional meeting held with presidents in the villa, saying that agreement is agreement. The governor should come and agree to what he has agreed to with them. Constitution does not recognize you anymore.
You know, yeah, you know, the way and manner at which these godfathers want to be at the helm of affairs is actually is annoying. It's really annoying. Okay. Before we go on, let's take a look at the visit of Mr. Fubara to the State Assembly complex.
It's my property. I came to see it.
Yes, sir.
It's assembly, not part of my property. Is there anything wrong in going to check how things are going on there? You're aware of the development. We have a new speaker, and I went there to see for myself how things are, because there might be a few things I might want to do there for the good of our people. Thank you.
This is property. I don't know. Well, to buy this property. Where and how did you get the money to buy this property that you claim is? I think our governance in Nigeria is not a caricature.
I wouldn't want to agree with you. It is his property if you want to look
As
at
a
it
government.
as the governor, because he's holding it
The
to people of Rivers State. So everything in Rivers State as it stands now is his property.
Okay.
So he's right using that assertion.
Okay, well, let's pray that is where he's looking at it from, not as a personal, because the way he sounded, it was more like it's my personal property. Okay. We have a comment from a viewer here. She says, my heart is heavy with what is happening in this country. May God have mercy on us. Kai. She said it 3 times. Sometimes I begin to ask, God, are you seeing what is happening in Nigeria? I am very, very sad. Well, it's unfortunate. We're so sad. Well, time is really not on our side, but we're going to round up with this story. Tinubu brags, Nigeria will be food sufficient in my tenure. I rather not say anything. Let me allow Godwin talk about this.
Sincerely, you shouldn't have brought in the story.
you don't believe that? Oh, you have little faith.
I want to be of those in little faith.
Oh my goodness, he doesn't believe he's president.
Believe that.
Okay.
Sincerely.
Okay, well, we're going to end. Godwin said he doesn't believe that food will be sufficient in the booth. So those are the backstage.
But I believe in one thing though. There would be an increase in widening the tax net.
Before
so much.
it has started already. Cybersecurity will have started. So thank you very much, viewers out there, for allowing us grace your screen this morning, and to those behind the scene, Mr. Godsend, Miss Rachel, every other person there, Mr. Ebuka. We really want to appreciate you for doing what you know how to do best. I want to conclude by saying, reminding us actually that we all should practice what we preach, and preach what we practice. If you say it's 48 hours to hold somebody before charging the person to court, practice it. Well, viewers, this is where we call it a wrap. Don't forget to subscribe to all our platforms for more interesting and informative programs. Until we come your way again next week, thank God it's Friday. You have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye.
Beaming from the nation's capital, we bring to you the good news through various programming, news updates, worship, and teachings.
The paralysis of sin makes us to be separated from God.
Contact us for your live streaming solutions and event coverage, such as synods, conferences, seminars, revivals, and lots more. Engage us in showcasing your brands and services to the world through adverts and sponsorship. We also offer latest broadcast equipment for rent, all at affordable prices. Tune in to ACNNTV via any free-to-air decoder with the following installation parameters: Intelsat 20 satellite with tuning frequency 12562 MHz, symbol rate 30 Mbps, orbital position 68.5 degree east, and horizontal polarization. You can also keep in touch with episodes of our programs via these social media platforms.